Welcome back to another episode of Put It on the List. We have an awesome show today. We break down some trailers, season finale season, the send-off special. We break down some finales. Did they land the plane, y'all? We have some cool stuff coming up. And we end with our world famous double feature. Let's start the show. I'm Francisco, and to help me land this plane today, my not so qualified co-pilot, Andres. What's up, buddy?
What's up? Not qualified? Shit. Well, we'll see about that.
I'm just basing that on your shit takes.
You're the shit pilot. Let's see.
Good comeback. You're the shit pilot. Original. Good one, bro. That's why you get paid the fucking big bucks.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we're still working on it.
How was your week?
Good. A little busy, but enough time where I got to watch some of these crazy finales and writing notes, getting my thoughts together. I watched all kinds of stuff, so it's been pretty cool. Oh, here's a note for listeners. Our internet's being really weird right now, so if there's any weird bumps and fucking bruises during the recording, we're sorry. Hopefully it's not too bad, but we'll find out afterwards.
Yeah, or technical difficulties may arise.
We'll see. What we're hoping with our duct tape is working, and I think we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
How was your week, sir?
It was good, man. Busy. You know, taking it one day at a time, man. Trying to keep up with all the stuff on TV and the movies and stuff. A lot of content, and rolling with the punches.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Bunches of punches.
All right. So for the record, people were saying we were too nice to each other last week on the recording. That was like the big feedback I kept getting. Like, why were you guys so nice to each other? I'm like, I guess we were in good moods. I don't know what to tell people.
Were we? I felt like I shit on you a little bit when
I don't know. People
started talking nonsense.
I think they expected more. I don't know more, but I think we're both in good moods and our fucking opinions just happened to line up, and we were like, okay.
Yeah.
He's not a complete fucking asshole. But all right. Let's get into it.
All right. Trailers. First one, we got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. What'd you think?
Yes. They're clearly trying to go with the whole Spider-Verse style for this whole thing, which is kind of cool. It's very like painterly animated. And some of the frames were gorgeous. I was like, that's really fucking cool. Like there's a lot of like water, oil painting look to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But then the voice acting kind of came in and it was a little like, I don't know. It didn't really match. Like there's like kiddie stuff and I don't know. Yeah. Just the voices didn't quite get there for me, but I like the idea. Maybe it's not finished with the style because some of the shots were like not that great either. I'm like, it's like the style was not completely decided upon. But I'm very curious. I mean, I grew up on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so I will definitely give it a shot. When something's this stylized, it's got my attention. Yeah. So I want to check it out. I don't go to the theater for this one, I don't think, but I'm very curious. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I liked that more than you. I didn't. The voice cast didn't bother me as much. I mean, it was kind of funny to hear Jackie Chan be Splinter, but I like it. I like some of the jokes and stuff, and the animation looked interesting. I don't know if they're trying to go for the Spider-Verse stuff as much because it's definitely not as clean as that. And it felt to me like a little stop motion you know what I'm saying? Like some of it looked like, there's a couple of shots I was like, did they hand do this? Literally stop animation. But overall it looks pretty cool. I probably won't go to the movie theater for this either, just because nobody but me watches Teenage Ninja Turtles at the house. So you know, nobody's gonna want to go with me. So, but other than that, it looked cool, man. I liked it all overall, and we'll see.
I like it.
It's
The
kind of
ambition.
weird, not yeah. It's kind of weird not seeing Shredder, as the villain, but we'll see.
I guess it looks like Baxter the Fly, but we'll see. All right.
All right, man. Moving on, we got Jackie Chan and John Cena. And let me see. The title of the movie is Hidden Strike. Wow. What do you got?
Wow. That's a good yeah, that's pretty much wow question. It's like wow, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. That kind of a wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool pairing, those two. Like, okay, I could see them doing something around it. But then they like took whatever budget they had and cut it to like a third of that. And they're like, okay, this is what you got to work with. And just go do something really cool. I'm like, we can't do anything really cool looking on this budget. It's just got to look good enough. Like, what's your definition of good enough? Because there is some stuff in the trailer where like, did they just not have a budget for this movie? Like the CG looks pretty.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not done yet. I don't know. But it looked really like.
Yeah.
Made for TV 15 years ago level of quality, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's like
your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, for me it was it's like, oh man, it was this script and the Broken Arrow script at the same time, but they decided to make Broken Arrow 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and then they fucking finally got around to this one. Then they forgot to update the script. And like, as far as budget wise, I'm like, dude, could they even like, they could have played some, like the music, was just like some generic standard loop or something. I don't know what the hell they were playing. They couldn't have put like some DMX or Party Up in here or something, dude. Like something to get some energy going, because that fucking ding 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 whatever that shit was fucking sucked. And I was like, what are they playing behind this? I would have liked to hear some hype 90s rap or something, dude. Anything, dude. Like, shot through the heart, something to get the energy going, because that generic soundtrack that they had going, oh my goodness, it's like they took that shit off of Casio or something. They didn't have a budget for music.
They took their budget,
that's for sure.
Bro, they're like, we're gonna reroute the budget from music to the visual effects. And then all of a sudden someone came in and said, yeah, we're going to take the budget from visual effects to put it into like catering for John Cena. I don't know, man, but some money disappeared somewhere along the lines, because that shit was not on screen.
Yeah. Some checks did not clear.
Poor guys. I like them both. But Jackie Chan was looking pretty good, though. I got to say, he was looking pretty good for his age.
Yeah. Yeah, he's only 100. Good job, Jackie Chan.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
I was just gonna say that I was never a huge fan of Jackie Chan's style of movies, because I like martial arts and kung fu and all that, but I was never one to enjoy or be a fan of the comedy kung fu movies, and that's like Jackie's main bit. There's a couple of exceptions, of course, but overall, not my cup of tea.
Okay. Shanghai Night, Shanghai Noon, those are fun. But yeah, I mean that's his wheelhouse. Anyways, but yeah, I enjoyed him. Moving on. What we got next?
Moving on, we got Justified, City Primeval. Did you watch the show when it was out?
I think I've watched like 1 or 2 episodes.
I liked it. I'm a fan of Raylan Givens.
Did you watch all of them?
Yeah, I finished it. It was good. I liked it.
It's been going for a while. I mean, it went for like, I don't know how many seasons.
Yeah, I think it was 5 seasons total. And I liked it, man. It was like some, gangster redneck hillbilly guys out in the mountains and stuff. And they were called the Winn-Dixie Mafia. Like that's what that was called in the show and stuff. And now he's relocated to Detroit. So yeah, I'm down, dude. Raylan Givens was pretty badass. So
the trailer looked cool.
Yeah,
I didn't watch the show too much, but the trailer looks good. Like it looks high quality, unlike some other stuff. And it has what's his name, Boyd Holbrook, as I guess the villain in this one. He makes a good villain. He's like a little jerk.
Yeah.
I don't know what the he's an asshole.
No, he's a good job.
Asshole.
Yeah.
What we got
Looking
next?
forward to it. That was like the only winner for me out of those trailers that we watched.
I would say so. Even though this one's not even, it's going straight to like FX, which is Hulu, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it was an FX show. Moving on. News and tidbits. All right, here we go.
Yes, sir.
Directors Guild have reportedly reached a tentative deal on a new 3-year labor contract following less than a month of negotiations.
Yeah, break that down for us. This morning. Apparently this morning, they just broke it saying that they have a tentative agreement between the directors and the studios because they're about to go on strike next. And they were hoping like the pressure that the directors put on the studios would also get a deal done with the writers as well so they could all just go back to work. But I guess that never happened because I guess you don't fuck with the directors. And for historical purposes, the last time the directors went on strike, the strike lasted 6 hours. So they have some pull. And I guess their pull worked. And they're kind of trying to avoid more shutdowns by getting the directors going, which hopefully means the writers are up soon, that they'll fucking take some shit serious. I don't know. I don't understand. But that's the deal. So it's slightly less shutdowns happening right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good news, I think. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. Hey, as long as we keep going, the pattern is this, people keep resolving these problems. I'm good, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Which leads into the fact that things are still kind of screwed. And one of the other pieces of news that came out are the Batman 2, the sequel, and The Last of Us second season, both delayed by at least another 6 months because of the whole writer's strike, which is like, fuck. Like things were already slightly delayed, but they just keep like pushing the delays further and further out. So like originally delayed 6 weeks and they're like, oh, we're totally screwed. Now we're delayed 6 months. I'm like, damn it. So that's kind of a bummer. It seems like there's enough content for the rest of this year, but come like early next year, man, there's going to be maybe 6 months where it's going to be thin. You're going to be watching like a whole lot of reruns of Below Decks and all that other shit that's out there.
Yeah. Well, shout out to my deckies.
So there you go. You can watch that crap. So yeah. Hopefully this shit gets done soon. Writer's strike. All right. What's next?
Next up, we got Spider-Verse. Snagged some record for preview night. How much money did it make?
I think it made something like, I don't know if it was like 20 or 30 million. And which was like, no, I think it was like 20 million, which is funny because they compared it to the first film, which made like 4 million. So it made like 5 times the amount of money the original film did in previews. So it's kind of indicating this film's going to be pretty fucking big.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to go watch it.
But then that goes into the next story, which is what?
Sony, on the biggest no shit of the universe, plans more Spider-Man films.
Yeah. In other news,
no
company
shit,
likes
right?
money. Yeah, apparently they've confirmed that Tom Holland's, he confirmed himself that he's been meeting with Sony for the next Spider-Man 4 film. And they're going over all their ideas. They started loosely planning, but then they had to stop because of the Writers Guild. Like you can't even kind of get together with solidarity and come up with ideas. You have to like calm all that creative process back until a deal is reached, I guess. It's like a faux pas.
Yeah.
But it's fully happening. No shit.
I got a question for you. My question is is Tom Holland a good actor? Because when he plays Spider-Man, Peter Parker, it's legit. He's good. And everything else, I'm like, what? Like either I've never heard of the film or it was a bomb or it was just like there was nothing to the acting of him. So what do you think? Is he a good actor or is he one of those, he's a Marvel actor?
It's a good question. I know he's been in a lot of other things that have not done well or not been not well
Yeah.
received. I know he has a new show on Apple coming out that looks kind of out there. I'm like, okay, maybe that's going to be the one because Apple put some work into their shows, both the scripts and the production. But I saw him in Uncharted. He was good enough. He was fun enough. I think the whole film was miscast overall. I think they could have gotten different people because this is the game. It's just like trying to line those two up is really difficult. But he was good enough. I like him overall. I'm always rooting for the guy, but I see what you're saying. Like, he needs to kind of step away a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know. It was like when Chris Evans played the bad guy in, what was that fucking movie? The Gray Man. That was kind of fun seeing him go from like Captain America to Captain Asshole. You're like, all right, cool. And I don't know. Maybe he needs to play a villain just to kind of like shake off the cobwebs.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, man. Moving on to Creepy Corner. If all my creepy guys out there, if you guys didn't get enough Terrifier, we got Terrifier 3 coming. The killer clown is coming back to kill people for no reason with a bigger budget. So it might be some more gnarly kills. This is a fan favorite. I don't think I've met like anybody that's watched the film and not liked it, which is kind of weird because it's like so violent. But yeah, man, it's like another one's coming, bro. So get ready for it. The Terrifier 2 is currently on Peacock. So if you guys got Peacock and you're interested, go ahead, man. Dip your toe into the Creepy Corner.
Yeah. You let me know how that goes. I will say, here's my extremely limited experience with fucking Terrifier. I saw some footage and all this other shit. I'm like, this looks so dumb. This looks so dumb. But it's like, okay, whatever. And then I read this article about the third one, and they talk about the second one, I was like, this looks stupid. They made that shit for like $250,000, and it made like 15 million or something. And I was like, oh shit, okay. They didn't really have the money to like spend it on a lot of fanciness. They were extremely limited, and they were able to make that film for that money. That's impressive. I cannot fault them for that, and it got well received. I'm like, dude, if you take that little making anything for 250,000 is fucking is a feat, and it did well. And it's got a third one coming with a bigger budget, so you can get like better quality blood and kills for all you fucking maniacs out there. And cool, good for you guys. Yeah. I think that's impressive. That's impressive, and I'm happy for you. So you can sleep better at night knowing Terrifier 3 is coming.
I just want to give a shout out to my guy Andres for taking that hate stick out of his ass and actually being positive on something, you know. So thank you, buddy. Thank you for taking that hate stick out. All right. I appreciate you.
Still early in the episode, dude. Still early in the episode, but here we go. We'll see.
All right. Okay, moving on to what we watched. The send-off special.
Yeah.
We had 4 series finales. And they were biggies.
Big ones. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, man. All right. I'm gonna start with Succession. I watched it, you didn't. So as far as landing the plane, I think they did land the plane. There was some pretty cool like Easter eggs or I don't know, nods, you know, to some classic IP out there and stuff. I don't want to give any spoilers, but man, it was like the show knew what it was, and it landed the plane with what it didn't go outside of its comfort zone to try to do anything crazy and overcompensate because it was ending. You know what I'm saying? The show knew what it was, and it did its job. And it's over now, and I think it's totally rewatchable, and you can go back and rewatch the seasons and binge watch it and know that the ending's gonna be good. And I think the more you, as the time passes, you're gonna find that a lot of people are gonna like the ending more and more and more. It's just it was so hype, because people are like, "What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?" And now that it's over, you can sit there and you can digest everything that happened and be like, kind of scrutinize every move and decide like, "Ooh, was that plan? Was it like a triple move? Was it a triple a triple backstabbing? Was like who planned this? Who planned that?" So, I mean, it's gonna be a season finale that keeps on giving as time passes. So, hey man, it landed the plane, dude. Good job to Succession. I'm gonna miss it.
Cool. You have convinced me. I'm gonna start trying to watch this show. It might take me a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two to catch up.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll talk about it more once I finish. Maybe we'll talk about it on a season by season basis. I don't know. But
yeah.
As we ran out of things to watch, I'm like, fuck. All right, fine. I'm watching it. So good job there.
Cool.
All right, Succession. I'm glad you liked it, man. I know this is one of your favorite shows. I was worried that they were going to disappoint you, so I'm glad they fucking landed it.
Yeah.
Next, okay, here
this
we
is
go.
Your show.
All right, next. Here we go. The next one is the marvelous Miss Maisel has left the building, and there's so many things I want to talk about, but I don't want to do it spoiler, dude. You got to watch it. I think you should definitely. You could watch like the first two seasons. You got to watch the second season. The second season is so good. You could probably skip some of the third season. You can probably skip all of the fourth season if you really are in a hurry. Yeah. Like, because the fourth season is a little dicey here and there. Like it's the COVID thing. Like it was like it took a while for them to get their legs back. But the fifth season, this thing is fucking tight, and they tell the story differently, and they kind of do some stuff that they've never done before that threw us completely off. But when you understand what they're trying to do, you're like, oh shit. And then there's some awesome sequences. The cinematography is fucking top notch. The writing is top notch. The laughs are fucking just bam, bam, bam. And the character building and where they're going, it's so good. Like it's everything you wanted it to be. And with that, I would say 100% fucking landed the plane. The only weird thing, it's like this thing happens, and man, there's some amazing shots in the last episode. Some amazingly cool shots. I'm like, holy shit, I had to rewind it a couple times. Like, how'd they do that? I had to look up how they did some of this stuff. I'm like, wow. And the payoff at the very end is so like perfect. And I got like a little like do it. Like when you start rooting for someone who's getting kind of screwed, and you're like, this is it. Now or never. Take the fucking shot. Like you're either going to miss by a million miles and everyone's going to hate you, or you're going to fucking nail it and it's going to work out. And it's just like this huge risk. And Midge and Susie decide together, do it. You know what I mean? And then there's so many little things I want to go into spoil wise, but I'm not gonna. But dude, we watched this episode twice. We watched it again yesterday to kind of catch up again, because I was trying to like, okay, what exactly happened? And I think they nailed it. Like, and they do some stuff that they've never done before. And how do I say it? It hit the peak that it needed to hit at just the right time, and they got right out of the episode. And it was like, boom, plane landed. All the characters everything's wrapped up, explained more or less where they needed to go. And they kind of explain even further on like the complicated relationship between Midge and Susie. Looking back, it's like the entire show is basically about like their complicated relationship. And Susie and Midge are two characters that I think have a really hard time in their environments because they're not understood by most people. So they're kind of like two outcasts within their world, and they just happen to like link up with each other, and they just have like a little spark that kind of works between them. And it's like that little thing that they just kind of build on, and they eventually have like their short-term their language, and they understand each other, and they kind of like push each other to be better. Like, you need to be a better manager, you need to be a better client, and you know what I mean? Like it's so fucking cool. And they landed the plane for both the show and those characters and their relationship at the end. And highly recommend. I loved it. This was like, it's gonna be a mist that this show's gone. Yeah, because it was such like a not like a.
I was just gonna say that I've watched the first 3 seasons. I'm not sure if I finished the third season, but I know I definitely like season 2 and season 1 as well. So it's just one of those things that got lost in the sauce with so much content out
Yeah,
there. But if
sure.
you say 5 is great, then I'm gonna try to check it out and finish it out, see what happens.
You should probably try to finish the third episode, or third season, because something happens at the end when you realize like she eats a big old pile of shit. You know what I mean? And it's like it's part of
Yeah.
like her growth, and like she gets in her own way too many times, and that's like,
Hmm.
and it's like towards the end of 4, that kind of she has to learn to like get the fuck out of your own way, and that's what 5 is about, like trying to finish that out and just fucking get your wings going and just get into the stratosphere, like fire your rockets. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
Yeah.
it's pretty cool, and I'm excited. I'll talk to you more later, but I would definitely check it out. Like the performances, everything is so good,
Yeah.
and it's hilarious. Like Susie, like oh man, she just rocks it this whole season.
Yeah. That's good, man. Good. I'm glad you liked it,
So
and I'm
there you
glad.
go.
Hey, man, if these things keep landing the plane, man, it's like we're gonna need a bigger airstrip.
We're gonna need a bigger like hangar to put all the planes in. Apparently.
I know. We're not
All
used to
right.
it.
Should we want to Barry?
Yeah. Here we go. This is gonna be the one, buddy.
Oh,
The-
all right, man. We watch Barry. I think we're gonna go straight into spoilers for this one. So
yeah. Let's
starting
do
the
it.
timer for the spoilers. Listeners, fast forward 15 and a half minutes. We fucking rambled on about Barry for about 15 and a half minutes.
Holy
All right,
shit.
enjoy. All right,
Yeah.
man. Spoiler zone. The end of Barry. What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna go through the episode, the finale, right, real quick. Some of the
Yeah.
things, some of the beats that stood out, some of the beats that were like, what? I felt like, remember I told you, we talked about, that everybody's gonna die? Okay, everybody didn't die. Only 2 of them died, right? But I felt like
Yeah.
the whole Raven shit, I told you I don't buy it. It was just
Mhm.
Fuchs. And at the end, I feel like I was right because he ended up kind of running away when he saw how he saw Barry and stuff. And Barry's like his kryptonite. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he did give him his son back and everything like that. But I don't know, man. That Fuchs thing, it was kind of like, um, I don't know if a waste of time or not, but I wasn't feeling it too much. And then Soho Hank, I feel the worst for, but I mean, he was not a good person either. But you kind of wish that he could have retired in the Bahamas somewhere. Um, but it was a pretty cool shootout, action sequence, and that I enjoyed.
That was nuts.
Bear, yeah, and Barry, man, like I think that's where like the finale kind of like, for me personally, it took like the biggest I want misstep, but like not like they fucked it up, but kind of like it just got to be too meta for me when they did like the nice version of the player or the movie and stuff, the Hallmark movie or whatever, the Lifetime movie of the
Mhm.
nice Barry or the
Mhm.
fake story of Barry. It got a little too meta for
The
me.
victim Barry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is bullshit. And but I want to give credit to to everybody involved because they went for it. And I think I understand what they were trying to go for, but I don't think I don't think it worked out 100% because I still have really unresolved feelings for Sally, and she's out there just being a fucking
Mhm.
psycho and directing shit and like get to do what she wants, and everybody else that was not a good person did not have a good outcome. And I felt like she was a winner in some way. I don't know. So and then like, and now John Barry's kid is um is out there looking at a lie, and he was there, so he knows it's a lie.
Yeah. So yeah, it's complicated. I want to go to the Fuchs thing. Want to chat about
Mhm.
Fuchs for a second?
Sure.
I think his whole thing was he had his little speech of like, I was full of shit. and he was just not comfortable with who he was. And he said, it's not until I fucking just embrace that I'm a heartless piece of shit and not good at anything. I forgot his whole speech, but or he was scared of everything. But now, once he embraced all that shit, he just stripped it all away, didn't care anymore. And that kind of was like his weird, I don't know, his little coming out party where he's just like, I'm an asshole. That's just who I am. But and then yeah, at the very end, when he just kind of like walked away from Barry, I think they both kind of like were at this weird place in their lives where they just kind of like wanted to let go and just have peace somehow. And I think that was kind of what that whole thing was about. It was a little odd. I really thought Fuchs was going to be like dead 10 times over, but that didn't happen. So I don't know. That was one of the weird things, but I'm like, okay, I'll just let it go because he had his little speech and maybe he realized he just sucks.
Yeah.
And Barry maybe realizes the same thing. I don't know. It doesn't all have to be spelled out, but yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah.
And then like the Sally thing, that was she's been traumatized and fucked up for like the last 10 years. And I think this event kind of sparked a thing in her where like, fuck, I gotta like live a better life somehow. And she has like a purpose with her son. And she didn't realize it before because she was just not capable of even being a fucking mom. She was just a piece of shit. And at that point, I think she realized like I have some kind of a purpose. I got to be like protect this kid. And at that point is where she actually finally bonded with the kid. Like she never had any bonds with this kid. She was just he was like a product of like trauma. And I think embracing him is like embracing the trauma. But I think she finally got past all that and tried to be a better mom. And I think the end of the show showed her being a better mom. And at the same time, like a dude was like, hey, you want to get some drinks sometime? And she's like, no. Which is like a big growth for her too, because she's also needs other people so badly. And she needs like this acceptance thing. And shows like she's not. Maybe she'd be a little bit more independent. And she also realizes like she's not okay. And she just wanted to bring other people into that. So that was kind of like an interesting way to end it all with her. And she has like purpose again. They seem like they have a good relationship at that point. So I was like, okay,
I think John's faking it.
And that's the other thing. It's like he knows like it's terrible, but he watched this other movie. And sometimes you do terrible things, but you want to embrace the bullshit just so you can sleep better at night. And I think that's maybe part of his thing. But the fact that they showed that movie and that how that movie within the show wrapped up all the other story points, like that answered the question of what were they getting at with the Gene Cousineau stuff? And it turned out like they rechanged the angle to make it look like Cousineau was the one responsible for everything and Barry was somehow the victim. And all these dudes just bought into it. And I was like, holy shit. That's like the cops kept coming up with like the craziest answers for the craziest, all this violence that was happening. And they ended up with Gene Cousineau, who just happened to be the guy. Okay, spoilers again. Shoots fucking Barry in the head at the end of the fucking show. What were your thoughts on that?
I think to borrow from another show, I think it was Justified. I mean, he didn't know that Barry wasn't going to kill him or whatever, so it was an act of self-defense, I think. Do you think he had an agenda? Is that what we're trying to lean on? That it was like, oh yeah, I better kill Barry before he blows something else on me, or what?
I don't know, man. I think maybe. I think Cousineau was in survival mode at the same time. I think both him for his own life and then for his like, I think he was living in fear the whole time too. So he just wanted like Barry off the chessboard so he could just like finally come back to LA and like do his thing. But he also makes really terrible choices, and those terrible choices led to him fucking going to jail, I guess, for the rest of his life for the murders of these other people that he didn't kill. Which is pretty fucking funny. It's like his own fucking ego took him down at the end, which is like, holy shit. Even Jim Moss, it was like, he's the one that did it. And like, Jim Moss is that this guy is like, was batting 1,000 up until that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really
What was
funny.
the most tragic?
But,
what was the most tragic thing for you?
Man, you mean character? For like the entire show?
Oh yeah, or like character or like story, side story. Like what was the most, tragic aspect of the show for you?
You know what kind of sad? The one that always got me was Cousineau's son and his grandson. Like Kusuno tries. And he knows he screwed up. And he tries again. But he can't get it out of his own way. And you can see like his dad, his son, wants to have a relationship with him. And then when he tries, Kusuno just screws it up again and again and again. And you can see that it hurts like every time. And I always thought that was pretty sad. And so that was a bad one.
Yeah.
What about so the many framing? People are products of the. Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, what about how they framed the shot with Hank and how he died on Cristobal's feet on the statue of him?
Yeah,
that was pretty sad.
That's like, that was super sad. That's like I guess this is appropriate as it could be and tastefully as it could be done, because you didn't want to see Hank die, but Hank is in the center of the storm, man. Like, he's tried to get out so many times, and he just has to get back into it. So at that point, there's only one way out, and they did it with like Cristobal, and how that was still, it's like he's on the train tracks, man, and that shit was gonna hit him at some point, and it did, and it's like shit. But Fuchs is shooting him like that. Fuchs is getting all even worse. You know what I mean? And for Fuchs just to walk away, it sucks because of that alone. Yeah, sad. But dude, that fucking scene where they're in the hall or that little, I don't know, the foyer, when both sides are sitting there and they do a fucking Tarantino where everyone kills each other in one shot and the camera moves and it's sweeping across and you see like arms. I don't know where those came from, and like fucking dudes' guts hanging out and then like grenades being thrown. You're like, all in one shot. You're just like, what the shit?
Yeah.
That was such a cool shot. Like that was like, good job, folks. Everyone involved. Good job. Like, that was like the way to do it.
You hear people kind of like, like dying and stuff. No, it was great, man. I enjoyed that part. Dude, it was good.
They went out with the bang on that one. That was really cool. And then like, dude, the shot when Barry goes into like a fucking, like a Target, and he goes to like a counter in the back full of assault rifles and says, I need all the guns.
That was hilarious, bro.
And then it cuts to him like walking down the aisle. I was like, and then he tries to get into his car and he can't because he's got all these guns strapped to his back. I was done.
He did it. Somehow he did it. Yeah. That was good.
It is fucking funny. Like,
so for me, this one mostly landed the plane. Mostly, but not completely. I just wasn't really satisfied with some of the side stories.
What would have taken? Okay, what would have taken for it to land the plane? What do you think for you?
I think the plane started taking a southbound trajectory with the time jump, and it was kind of hard to recover from that. They needed to pull up, and they didn't pull up, and it just kind of hit the ground a little too short to land the plane. But like the time jump was the biggest.
Okay.
That episode is like the biggest, like, what the fuck? You know, like you try to wrap your head around everything. And I felt like there were some questions that weren't answered. And it was too abrupt. And don't get me wrong, I don't want a show to hold my hand and you know, lead me to everything. But at the same time, I think that sometimes too abrupt or like too artistically nuanced or whatever you want to call it, you know, it just sometimes it's a little too much. And if they would have held the reins a little bit closer, I think it would have been a more satisfying ending. But they went huge, man. They went for a huge thing, and you got to applaud it. So they mostly landed the plane.
I would agree with the time jump being like the weakest plot point. Like, I think they could have told the same exact story with like maybe a time jump of like 6 months, and I think it would have been just as effective and less jarring. I think that's an excellent point, but I don't know, maybe you needed that time jump because you wanted to see Sally grow as a human by having a kid and her being a shit mom to a much better mom. So at least you get to see her kind of arc, because she was shit the entire time you've seen her. And at the very end, she was like, okay, she's like a decent human after all. And then
I don't see that. I think she's fucking
you get to see
I think she's living in a lie. She's not fucking decent. She's a piece of shit.
Okay.
and she's just faking
You
it.
think
She's
she's doing
acting.
good enough just to kind of?
She's acting through her life. You know,
I don't know.
She's just carrying on with everything. I think she's still because like you know that shot when she's driving and the shot just holds on her face. She doesn't dare not to break character.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like she's still living that fake shit, that acting shit. So I don't know. I don't think that she's better.
Maybe. You know, it would have been nice if they showed her not working in the theater, but like, just a 9 to 5 office job where she's just getting along with everybody and she's part of a good team. She's not like leading it. It's not about her. You know what I mean? Like she's helping other people. Like that would have been if they wanted to show her character arc. But anyways, but they didn't. And this is what we got. And in my mind, I would have done. She's a better person. I don't know.
Man, like
what
so,
would you have done?
I would have had her take her fucking little bullshit hat off, take her glasses off, throw it out to the side, open the glove compartment, her pull out a flask and start drinking and be like, fuck. Like, I got through another day. And I'm like, that's who she is. That's the real her. You know, so, because I just don't buy it, man.
Yeah, that would have been tragic, but okay. That would have been tragic, but in character.
Yeah.
I don't know. I root for him, but I don't know. Anyways, are we good?
You're such a softie.
Anything else?
Yeah, good. Like I said, mostly landed the
wait
plane.
till we get into Ted Lasso. You're gonna hear some softy shit.
Oh, bro, I got my Kleenex. I got my box of Kleenex right here, doggy. Ted Lasso. All right, man. The biscuit machine is closed. No more biscuits. No more.
Man.
You know, no more hound dog sessions. No more. I don't know what else.
No more garbage tea water.
This was so satisfying.
I agree.
This was so satisfying.
I was impressed.
Yeah, the first 3 episodes were kind of like, I don't know, is it going to be good? And then I think the turning point for me for the season was when Sam's restaurant got jacked up and then the team went, and the whole transformation with Jamie not being such a prick, stop being so pippy, and he took the training with Roy serious, and I think that was a turning point, that episode.
Hey,
after that, man, it was
any further though.
Yeah, we should do that.
Let's before we keep going, Mr. fucking Spoily Pants here. This is Andres from the future. Fast forward 22 minutes. We talked for 22 minutes about all sorts of Ted Lasso goodness. Go watch it if you haven't. It's on Apple. All right, man. We're full spoiler zone, so keep the Kleenex fodder coming. What else you got?
Yeah, so that was the first moment, right, in the season for me, like when the team went to help Sam because he was hurting and he was in a bad place. First, his dad shows up, and then it turns out that they named the dad's restaurant. I mean, Sam named the restaurant after his dad, and the team came to help. And man, that was a emotionally charged episode, and I love that episode. And I think after that, man, it was like, here we go, we're taking off. Are you coming on this emotional ride with us? And dude, like the episodes kept getting longer and longer. I'm like, oh my god, and it was better. Like and better. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch an episode. I got like 30 minutes before I have to go to bed, and I'm like, here I am an hour later. And so yeah, that's just one moment. I don't know. You want to share something? You want to get started, or you want to read your notes?
I think no. I'll do a couple at a time. But I mean, the one thing as far as the season goes is the first half was kind of a little weird. They had this whole Zaba thing, and I'm like, where are they going with this? And then they're kind of like in this little zone. But then all of a sudden they go to like, is it Amsterdam or something? And that's like one of a trippy ass fucking episode. And it's kind of good because it shows like some interesting points from some of the characters. They do something completely different. And then like each some of the characters really have some like nice breakthrough moments with each other. Like, okay. And it's after that episode is where it fucking just like takes off like a rocket ship, and they start to like try to wrap stuff up. And I'm like, dude, this is good. Like the first couple episodes, like season 3, is like, okay, this is fun, but it's not like every episode, like season 1 and 2, just get better and better and better and better. And the first couple episodes there were like, all right, good enough. But then it fucking takes off like a rocket ship after that point. So I'm pretty much with you on that in that area.
Yeah. And, I think also, too, having Rupert in the clubhouse was a big win. They needed that extra, I don't know, character or somebody to push along the story. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
I think having Rupert in there was a good call. Also, the story,
he was like
with
the Darth Vader
Nate,
character after a while.
Yeah. The story with Nate was okay. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to go back to Richmond the entire time. I wanted to hang out with the coaches. I wanted to hang out with the players. I wanted to hang out with the owner, the GM. That was like the focal point for me. You know what I'm saying? Because as far as the nitpick goes, I wasn't really feeling the whole Kaylee and her relationship and her story as much. Those are the times that I was kind of like checking out. But and also the Nate thing, because it was a redemption thing for Nate. But man, I just wanted to hang out with the team. Do you know what I'm saying? Remember the episode where they had the string tied to their dicks? That was fucking funny, man. There are so many funny bits and stuff.
Oh my god,
that was a good episode, dude.
At the end, I enjoyed the Nate arc. Yeah, I think it was a bit much, like here and there.
Yeah.
But we never really got to like understand him. And I think he kind of epitomizes like what could be the best of the best and the worst of the worst in the show. And we got to experience all of that within less than one season.
Yeah.
And you got to see how Ted's effect on someone who like, that dude is not well. Like this whole spitting on his thing. And like, he really wanted to be loved by his dad, but his dad was not capable of giving him that love and like that appreciation and like acceptance or support. And he really, really wanted that. And he thought, okay, now Rupert is giving me that. And then the more time he spent with Rupert, he realized, oh my God, this guy's like a total piece of shit.
Yeah.
And eventually kind of like got out of that after he burned all his bridges. And he realized at that point, like how to value the people around him and how to value himself and how he sees other people valuing him and how to be a part of something. And then that was like his redemption thing, which leads me to, I'm kind of curious if they do another season, they clearly set up like him and Roy and all these other characters to like come back and do their thing if they wanted to. And you kind of were really invested in them.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. His gray hair thing, that thing threw me off. His like silver hair. I was like, what is this like villainy stuff? But I'm like, all right, whatever, man.
And another thing with Nate,
that threw me off. But
maybe not Nate, but just like the position that he carries, because he went from a kit guy, right, like the ball boy, basically, to an assistant coach, right, and to which tracks. But then you go from an assistant coach to a soccer team that just joined the Premier League, which means that we're like a league below. And then he quits that, right, from a small soccer club to go be the head coach of West Ham. Like a pretty big club down there. Like they're not the biggest, but they're pretty big, and like in the biggest soccer league in the world. And he becomes the head coach, and then he quits and is a freaking waiter. Like that kind of like those things were like the things that took me out of his story. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, dude, like once you become a head coach, like in any sport, you're always going to be a head coach. Somebody else is going to give you a head coaching job. You know what I'm saying? Like how many times do we see the same head coaches in like different teams and stuff? And I don't know, like I'm not saying that it needs to be accurate, but it just like, it was a big jump, like, dude, nobody that was a head coach in the Premier League is going to go be a freaking waiter. I don't know, like something's not right with him.
He's not a mature dude. Like he's lacking real world experience, and there's things that just don't make sense to him.
Yeah.
Clearly, he needs like a fucking manager, like at that point, which I'm sure, or an agent. I'm sure, you know, the reality was that person would have an agent. But this is like a cartoon, and they wanted to like knock him down to like the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went with it. This is a cartoon, so I went with the cartoony aspect of it, and that was probably one of the biggest, like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. That's why I just wanted to be with the team, because
at the
those
same
kind
time,
of things were, they took me out. You know, I just wanted to hang out with Roy and Lucas and McAdoo and all those guys, man, because they were all funny and they had like great chemistry, and like that stuff was kind of real to me. Like the chemistry that they had as a team, and like the chemistry that they had in the coaches' room between, you know, the GM and Coach Head and everybody. You know what I'm saying? So like that stuff was like real to me, and when we left those boundaries, it kind of took me out.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, if you only do 3 seasons and your episodes are short, you got to stay focused. And those were kind of a little like, what? The only thing I'd buy into him being a waiter is because he wanted to hang out with his girlfriend, which was a very new thing to him. He didn't know how to be a boyfriend. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he was just trying to like be the best boyfriend he thought he knew how to be, and that means hanging out all day at work with their girlfriend, which is like, that's not probably not how you want to do it. But
and she knew what's up. She's like, she got him another job real quick. She got him a job real quick.
Yeah. She was like, let's get him fired.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so getting past that, there's all sorts of stuff I want to chat about.
Yeah.
The last episode specifically was so good. Like, not just landing the plane. What we did is we after we finished the last episode, we immediately started watching the first episode of this ever from the beginning. We watched like the first 2, I think. We're like, I just want to watch this shit again. And dude, I don't know if you know this. There are so many like bookends and callbacks in that last episode that are from the first few episodes. I was like, what? Like that Ussy kid. Do you remember the Ussy kid who takes like he was in like the opening scene or 2 scenes of Ted Lasso. He asked for a Ussy on the plane. And that's when Ted learns about the term Ussy and is like, all right. And then this kid shows up at literally the end of the show where he's at the airport and he's like, oh, and he's like super into him. Like the Ussy kid tells Ted Lasso, yeah, you're going to suck and good luck. But yeah, terrible. You're not a good choice. Yeah. And then at the very last episode, he sees him and totally respects Ted. And he's like, you know, Elsie, you're awesome. You know what I mean? So he did a full circle on this one character who shows up twice in the entire episode, the first episode and the last episode. And it's the first few minutes of that first episode and the last few minutes of the last episode. It was like, holy shit, that's pretty cool. And then same exact thing happened on the airplane when they are leaving, or actually first episode, Beard and Ted are on that plane. And he says, Beard's asking Ted, are we stupid for coming here? And Ted's like, well, we'll just see how this works out. And literally the last episode, they're on the plane, sitting in first class this time. And they're having a conversation. And Beard says, are we stupid for leaving London? You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like a total opposite. Were we stupid for coming? Are we stupid for leaving? So it's like a big like 180. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even catch that shit. Yeah. So that was really cool. And like another simple bookend. In the first 3 minutes of the first episode, you see Ted doing his little robot, his dance in the middle of all his players. Yeah. And you see that like in the video. Yeah. And then cut to the last episode, the last few minutes, Ted doing the same fucking dance with his players. We're like, oh shit, I was waiting for that dance to show up. And that's just a couple things, man. I got like even more stuff. Like the Aussie kid, that Beard, him having that chat together. Oh, and the Oscar play. So on the second episode is where Nate introduces that play of the fake whatever. And Jamie, he's like, we're going to fake it to Jamie and go to Sam. And we need Jamie to sell it. And you got to sell it like this. Me. Pass it to me. Like, you got to win your Oscar. Like, and Jamie's like, fucking, this is the dumbest fucking thing. And that's the exact fucking play that they do in the last play of the game that wins him the game, which he went from like, fuck this play to let's do that play, and they win it. And not just that, but Ted does the whole like me, telling Jamie how to do it. And Jamie's like, fuck you. And Jamie does that exact performance in that play. I was like, holy shit, it's really fucking funny. So like all these little things, if you watch the last episode and go back as it's fresh in your mind and watch the first like 2 or 3 episodes, you're gonna see so much stuff, and it all gets paid off from like 3 years ago. You're like, holy shit, they fucking nailed it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that was you should check it out, man. I think you'll super dig it. It was really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Jamie is my MVP for the season, man. I feel like he had like the most growth and
huge.
Just like instead of being like, I don't know, what would you call him before? Such a prick, and now just be like,
oh yeah,
he's such a part of the team. You know what I'm saying? So
he's a leader. He learned how to be a leader.
Yeah.
And he learned how to be selfless.
Yeah.
And that journey started at the very, very end of the first season. Yeah. Like where he makes, he passes the ball instead of taking a kick, and that's what wins the game for him or his team at that point. And that whole thing, and even though it beats Ted's team, Ted sends him a note saying, good job. And he's like, what? And that little spark, like just lit the flame for like his whole journey back.
Yeah.
To be a better person, and him and Roy being like BFFs, which is like fucking adorable for those two idiots.
Yeah.
And then they almost fucking ruined both their character arcs doing the fight for Keeley thing. I'm like, what? You don't get to, like, what kind of caveman shit is this? Like, dudes don't say you with me. Like, they gotta like,
Yeah.
They're acting like Keely's not an individual person capable of making her own choices, which was a little awkward to me. But it's cartoony stuff, so whatever. Yeah.
See, that's why I didn't like any of that. But anyways, I'm not gonna go again into the Keely stuff. But yeah, that was really cool. And then what was I gonna say? The relationship between Ted and the boss, man, that was like when they were sitting on the benches and the stadium was empty, and she was like, I'm gonna sell the team if you go. If you go, I go. And then like, oh, but you could stay, you know how much I can pay you, and he wasn't really saying anything, and she was just talking, and that was a real well laid out scene, and it was blocked pretty cool because of the whole the way it was shot and stuff. Man, that was another standout moment.
Not just that scene and like the setup for it is basically like the opening credits of the whole show, where you see him kind of like sitting by himself.
Yeah.
And they've never shown that before until that scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, it's kind of like homaging to like the opening scene, which is really killer. And yeah, he doesn't say anything, but it's all in his face and the way she says it.
Yeah.
And then like the sadness and her bringing him there to fail, and to like, she initially wants to hate him so bad, and she tries so hard, but she just can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it leads to the very end where he's trying to take off, and she's like waiting for him at the airport, and she tells him like, oh yeah, I bought a first class ticket just so I could go through security to give you a hug goodbye. And like, oh shit. And it's like the growth for that is like so like, dude, I was touched. I'm like, man, there's a lot of moments you're like, fuck.
Yeah. It was funny, man, because the season finale aired on Wednesday, right? Or the series finale aired on Wednesday. And the next day I had a friend tell me, like, did you watch it yet? And I'm like, okay. Shout out Sarah. And then I'm like, okay, I got to watch it because I knew that we were going to talk about it on this episode. And I'm like, oh, man. And I was 2 behind. And I was like, okay, I'll watch 1 episode tonight before bed. And then I'll watch the second episode the following night. And it was so good that I couldn't turn it off. And I ended up staying up to like midnight watching these things. And it was so good. And I couldn't turn it off. And I'm like, that was really captivating TV. And it shot right back up there, man, to like best of the year, So, this guy, they totally landed his 747 on this shit.
Dude, not just that. It was a 747 full of characters that you cared about. And not just that, they kind of rounded out. Like, you get to see Sam playing for his national team of Nigeria. Yeah. And you get to see like this whole thing of Beard getting married, which is in a really weird looking sequence. I'm like, oh, just let that one go. I did not like the visual presentation of that sequence.
And Ted wasn't at his wedding?
Yeah, which is odd, but all right. Yeah,
but let it go.
he was coaching his kids soccer at that point. It was just so cool to like see all these little things. They wrapped up everything so well.
Yeah.
And them showing like Keeley showing, hey, I got an idea. And like a women's soccer league. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, is that going to be the spin-off sequel show? That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like watching the first episode, 2 episodes, is the team is not a team. Like they are so far apart on who they are and like functioning as a unit. It's like 2 different gangs that hate each other is how they talk about it.
Yeah.
And then when you see like as the story progresses, how they all go together as they go everywhere as a team, and like they respect each other, and like they have Thanksgiving together. Like they all like that family love that they bring to like the table that Ted inspired is like shit. I've been on sports teams. It was like the original team where one half hates the other. I've never been to a happy place with teams that I've played with.
Yeah.
So weird. And it's all leadership, man. So you got to have good leadership. And Ted it turned out to be the leader that they needed. What else you got? You got anything else?
Yeah, one last thing. Shout out to Pep Guardiola. He made the cameo. You remember that Manchester City episode? And you want to talk about a leader, right?
Yeah.
And they chose him for a fucking specific reason. Mm-hmm. You know, like, because they just won, in real life, they just won like their 4th Premier League out of the 5 years, right? In the last 5 years, they won it 4 times. And now yesterday, they won the FA Cup. So that's 2 titles. And then on, I think this week, they're going for the Champions League trophy. And I mean, and they call it a treble if you win the 3 trophies, right? And there's only been like a handful of teams that have done it. And this guy's already done it with Barcelona. And now he's going to try to do it with Man City and stuff. So this guy's been at the top of his game.
Dude, you're going to tell me the next on. I want to watch that.
Yeah. And dude, it's just like...
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And shout out to Pep Guardiola. And like, so what he says, like, if you go back and listen to what he says in his thing, that guy, he lives it, man. Because I've seen like behind the scenes stuff where he's in the locker room and how he talks to everybody and stuff. It's pretty impressive.
Wow, I want to watch that game now. Okay, one last thing. Beard's story finally being told. Like you get to see the episode of Beard going out in the town. And then you see like Beard's redemption, where how he was at like the lowest low ever, and how Ted took someone who I guess most people would not want to like redeem or do something, kind of like helped him and put him back together. Yeah, which was like a really cool story, and that kind of paralleled Nate's story a little bit too. Yeah, so I was like, shit, and then the last thing I want to say, like, what do you say? The fourth main ingredient is like believe. Yeah. I was like, when they put that sign back together, I was like, fuck, I don't need this right now. That was touching.
All these feelings coming out of my body. Oh, bro. And I like, that's why, like, when I watched I watched the 2 episodes at night. I'm like, man, I can't go to sleep like feeling all this shit right now. I'm wide awake with all these emotions. I got me and my emotions in the middle of the night. Yeah. It's too much. And dude, it was too much, dude. I just wanted to turn it off.
Who knows? It could have, dude, if it went badly, or it wasn't going to go badly, but you were going to be feeling a lot. So you're going to be sitting, staring at the mirror as you brush your teeth after watching that episode for like 20 minutes, contemplating life. You're like, fuck. Anything else to add?
I think I'm good, dude. I think
this one landed the plane the best.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, check it. I can't wait to watch the entire season again, the whole show, all over again.
Mm-hmm. All right, now to move on, new to the list. I think we're going to do rapid fire, new to the list. There's a lot of things on here. First up, we got Avatar 2, June 7th, HBO Max and Disney Plus. Thoughts, excitement?
Yeah, it's in a couple of days. It'll probably drop around the same time this episode is. Are you going to watch it?
For sure. I've been wanting to watch it.
I'm like 50-50. I think I'm going to wait for you.
Oh, really? Wow. All right. I see how you are.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Next up, we got...
I've heard it's really long and thin on story.
It's all right. Just watch it. Stop being like that. Here you go. This is the ugly side of you. The ugly side. All right. Creed 3, June 9th on Amazon Prime. Definitely going to watch this.
I'm in. I want to watch this.
Yeah. All right. Moving on.
Might have been one of Jonathan Majors' last big roles.
Stop it. But, I mean, if he did it, it's his own fault. Next up, we got Renfield, June 9th on Peacock. I'm not sure.
I want to watch this.
Curse you. I'm 50-50. I'm going to wait for you. Let me know if
I think it looks funny enough.
Let me know if a Shaggy Bear comes out and be like, oh my God, it was my dream come true.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. Shout out to my little sister, Celestina. She watched it when it came out in theaters, and she said it was good enough. Which is like, okay, cool. I mean, it's got a fun cast.
Said that to protect your feelings.
I haven't watched it. There's no feelings to protect, son.
Yeah, she maybe she doesn't know how to be cutthroat.
Moving on.
All right. Moving on, we got Flaming Hot.
We'll find out when I watch it.
Caliente, June 7th, Disney and Hulu. I'm going to watch it. I want to know what's up with the Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Good. Looks funny.
Brown Pride forever. Next, we got Tar, June 6th on Prime.
Also very curious. Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
Fucking always a fantastic performance. I heard this is not a happy one.
No, it's not.
So we'll see
I
how
watched
this shit
it.
goes.
It was good. I watched it during Oscar season because it was on another.
Well,
it was either a Paramount or Peacock, one of those two.
I'm gonna get to watch it finally, and we'll talk more.
Yeah. All right. Next up, our world famous double feature. We went with good ending films and riding off into the sunset. Something that, very similar to this episode and very similar to the season finales that we watched. They all landed the plane. And we're going to try to land this plane with this double feature. All right. Do you want me to go first or you want you to go first?
Yes, sir. You have the floor, sir. Fire away.
All right.
Good endings.
Good endings. Here we go. It's a little film called Die Hard. That was a good ending.
Fuck. That was the one film I had picked.
No shit.
You son of a bitch. I was like, there's no way he's gonna do. There's no way.
And you know what?
Because this is. Oh, it's okay. I have one more.
It's funny when you said I have one film and I was going to tell you wanted me to give you the year of the movie. And then that would have given us a, very, be like, if I gave you the year, you probably would have been like, that would have been good. Yeah. But yeah, man. So yeah. What do I say about this movie? I mean, one of the greatest villains of all time dies spectacularly. And then guess what? Mm-hmm. Another bad guy's not dead.
Yeah.
And then my guy, Mr. Winslow, decides that he wants to be a good cop again and takes out the bad guy at the end to save the day. And then...
Dude, there's two great... Yeah.
And then...
John gets back with his wife.
Yeah, and she punches the shit out of the news guy for outing their family. And then the credits. And then it's like Christmas time all over. Man, that's how you end the movie right there, dude.
Yeah. Not just that, but then Argyle goes crashing through the gates and picks him up in the limo.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, cherry on top.
Yeah, man.
This is
right off into the sunset.
I picked Die Hard as my end because it just nails it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Damn it. All right.
What do you got, sucker?
All right.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I got something. Oh, so good. All right, I chose another film. It's actually a Western film, but it's like more of a contemporary Western film where I think they nail the ending where like all the characters kind of have like a good, solid, like they need to be where they need to be. And that film was Silverado. Directed by Lawrence Kasdan, I think. Man, it's Danny Glover, Scott Glenn, a young Kevin Costner, Kevin Kline. Like, dude, that cast is stellar.
Yeah.
So good. And then the end of that film, each of those characters, like, they accidentally come together and they have to do a thing because of shit goes down with some great villains. And at the end of the film, they kind of all end up in a slightly different place,
Yeah.
but they end up where they need to be in like in a good way.
Yeah.
And so that's like my good, happy off into the sunset ending it. And it never feels forced. Like everything feels natural. And it's just like, you're like, yeah, they did it. And you're like, fucking cool. So yeah, Silverado was my my off into the sunset happy ending choice after Die Hard got fucking taken from me.
Damn.
Yeah, I love Silverado.
After I picked Die Hard, I was so proud of myself for picking Die Hard that I was like, I'm not even gonna look for another fucking movie because that shit just is badass. Nothing's gonna top it. I'm not gonna even try. But yeah, here we go.
The other one I was thinking was the other film was going to be Air Force One. That's another one. I was like, it's a really great ending.
Yeah.
And it also metaphorically lands the plane kind of situation. Yeah. I was like, ooh, it's good.
Yeah.
Who's clever? Andres is clever.
Not clever enough. I went first. And I got Die Hard and you didn't.
Yeah. Fuck. That's all right. All right. Wrap it up.
Here we go. That's our show, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of the flight. Please restore your seats to the upright position. All trays must be put back to their original place. Please like and subscribe. Leave comments or recommendations. Are we missing anything? Is Andres dumb? I mean, let us know. We'll take care of it. I'm Francisco.
And I'm Andres.
Have a great week.
Andres the Great.
2 nerds, 1 pod. Let's go. Vámonos. Brothers. Let's go.